when I've gone to church, some things resonate with me, other things don't. And I think they're too judgmental. And it's almost like when you're in the people that are in the church, what I often see is that they kind of think that they've got one up on you because you're not.
Definitely,
You know,
because you're not
and
attending.
I think to myself, even judging other people is not the right thing
to do. As a Christian,
that's
not.
Trust in yourself and do what you feel is right, and don't worry about anybody else.
I don't know. I'm just not sure.
I mean,
I'm just not sure.
Do you not think there's a culture? I think. I mean, if you was back in the West Indies on a Sunday, the shops wouldn't be open. It'd be very quiet. The children would be all ready to go to school, Sunday school, and go to church. And you'll know it's a church day.
Yeah, but that's changed. That's like you're talking.
It hasn't changed. It's still going on.
So I think even when you look at, our parents, me and Angie's parents, it's like they sent us to church when we were little. They weren't.
They didn't go themselves, right?
Right. But we went to church, and it was instilled in us that there's a God and whatever, and we had to pray before we went to our beds at night. And I don't think that praying and those sorts of things are
anything wrong with it.
No, there's anything wrong with it. But then I just think to myself that when I've gone to church, some things resonate with me, other things don't, and I think they're too judgmental. And it's almost like when you're in the people that are in the church, what I often see is that they kind of think that they've got one up on you because you're not.
Definitely, because you're not
and
attending.
I think to myself, even judging other people is not the right thing
to do. As a Christian,
trust in yourself and do what you feel is right, and don't worry about anybody else. I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't want to spread the word and convert people, because if that is their faith, just whatever you believe, you want to kind of share it with people and say, well, I think this is the way to go. So there's nothing wrong with that, but then I think you should respect other people and not be thinking you're going to hell because you're not.
Laurel and I, my brother and I, we went to church, and it was a horrendous experience. I remember Laurel said he's not going back to church because, and I can't remember how old we were. I think we were in secondary school. We were old enough to go by ourselves. But the praying and the preaching, and I remember they told us to get on our knees. It was very much, they pushed us down, and it was, it was scary. And I mean, I carried on going, and Laura was like, I'm not going, I don't know what all that was about, but I'm not going back. But it was intimidating. It was quite intimidating, and it's quite scary. So it does depend on the kind of church that you grow up in, because I went for a few more years, but when I started seeing those who I thought were Christians, their behaviour on the other 7 days, on the other 6 days of the week, I was like, hang on a minute, I can't be with these people because it's not what I expected. And the other thing was that they were like, I hadn't felt the spirit to be speaking tongues, and I remember every week it was like, you're gonna speak tongues this week, and I thought, if you feel the spirit of the Lord and you speak tongues, that's supposed to be something that happens very naturally, spontaneously. You can't say, oh, I'm gonna go and speak tongues this week, because that means that it's just a farce. So I didn't feel comfortable going to church with people that I thought, well, this is not my belief is not what I actually see is your belief. It's not the same thing. So I think it's very different for every individual, how you're brought up, the type of church that it is. And again, I think there was a lot of confusing elements for me, because I think it probably takes a lot to read and understand the Bible in its entirety. But there was always a lot of questions and lots of things that I didn't understand, and maybe that was the time to ask all the questions. But even from Genesis, I was at school, and they're teaching you about evolution, which I thought was very plausible, and I believed in evolution, and I was trying to believe in how, the earth was formed and how man was made, etc. So there are a lot of things there that you can say are contradictions. And, you know, do you believe if there is a God and the Bible is true and everything in the Bible that you read is true, is very difficult to convey everything that's in there and be able to process it properly. So a lot of those things led me to think, okay, I'm not sure about this Christianity and I'm not sure if there is a God.
I mean, when we used to go to secondary school, you used to have religious studies. So, you know, again, you was learning about different religions
Faiths.
and faiths. But now, you know, that's not there. And also, I remember when I used to go to church, I used to go to church on a Saturday, and it was really far. And my other brothers and sisters, they didn't go. They didn't want to go. And it was, I'd go from like 7 o'clock in the morning and come back at 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And, you know, in the end, I wasn't learning about the faith. I was learning about how to stay hungry because it was lunchtime. So it was more about when are we going to eat rather than when is the pastor going to finish talking. And that's the thing with churches. Some churches you go there and you go there for an hour and you do your blessings. And there's some churches where you're there for like
all day.
all day. And
it's not
people are scared to get up, or you get up, they tell you to sit back down.
Yeah.
So you should have the choice how whether you want to practice your faith or not.
Interestingly, on the news yesterday, I think it was, they're looking at changing the religious religious education item within the school curriculum, and instead of having that, they want to expand it so it's the children are learning across all religions and faiths, and they're calling it religion and world affairs. And they're seriously going to saying that obviously it's mainly based around Christianity, and they're not saying that that's, well, the person talking was because they are a Christian. They're not saying that they are putting that aside, but they think everyone should understand all the other religions and faiths across the board. But going back to experiences within the church and things, and you're saying that there were good and bad stuff. Us going to Sunday school and stuff, like myself and Clea had it double whammy because we had to go like Sunday Pentecostal church, but we had to go also Seventh-day Adventist on a Saturday. And it wasn't just Saturday, it starts from Friday, 6 p.m.
No TV.
No TV, no recreation stuff,
And what is that about? What's that about?
Why did you go to both?
Because
my godmother was
Seventh-day
Adventist, and we spent time down there.
Yeah.
But then in saying that though, when we went to America that time, and that's my godmother's sister, and we went church.
Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, Seventh-day Adventist again, and it was like in the summer period, and every day
we had to
there
go.
was like Bible school or whatever, and it was the best thing.
We loved it.
Loved it.
Really? We loved it. It was
really,
fantastic.
Really good experience.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved to go to church in the evenings.
Yeah.
It was like.
So what were you doing though? What were you doing?
That
I
church
think
in
that
America
it
was so different to
it
here.
is.
I
It's
enjoyed
more-
it
I
so
don't know,
much.
I think
I
it's
think
more
that-
interactive. It's more
there was more like play
fun.
with learning.
Yeah.
It wasn't just sit down and you must
and
learn.
listen.
Yeah.
And also, I think in the evening, I really enjoyed the gospel music.
Yeah.
Oh,
Loved
it was
it.
like going to
I
a
loved
concert,
it.
isn't
It
it?
was.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed church in the States.
That's all
in
I enjoy
Canada.
about church though, is the
Yeah.
singing. That's
But
if I'm honest with you.
I-
That's what I
also-
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I enjoyed when I went to church in the States as well was the Bible class before, because you dissect bits of
Right.
the Bible and you'd actually learning, whereas I never done that here.
Well, over here,
And-
that's interesting because in the Pentecostal church, when we went Sunday school in the morning, whatever we learnt there, we used to have to recite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes.
In the evening,
Yeah.
and even though at the time some hated
the
it,
Sunday school
but
we
it
used
made
to.
you build up your confidence, and you're talking to a large mass of people.
Yeah, but
And
I
it's
didn't
like you had a
Girls,
mic, and I remember them
the
putting it in front of your
flower
face,
faded,
and
but
they
the word
kind of
of
nudging
God
you.
shall stand forever. I remember them drumming that into me. What is it?
And what is it?
Grass.
That's brainwashing.
Yeah,
of course it is,
Because
yeah.
when you're a child and you don't know and no one's explaining it, they're just saying that this is how it is.
This is
Yeah.
the
It's
verse.
brainwashing.
Learn the verse.
You know,
But
and
they
even
didn't
as
teach
adults,
us about the verse.
I think that even
Yeah.
when some people, I'm not saying in all churches, but I've known some people, like when they're questioning their pastor or whatever, to say this doesn't sound right or this is, that is like, it is right. It's not
Yeah,
an
the story.
explanation as
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
it should be a
and-
discussion.
right.
It should be a
We're
discussion.
all adults, and I think if you want people to really, you know, feel what's going on and to believe properly, it's not just about trying to say just read that is what it
Or
is.
just
Whatever I say,
preaching.
that's how it is. You know, and I think that is what my problem is with religion. You know, I would prefer to pick up the Bible and I'll make my own interpretations of what it says.
I haven't picked up the Bible for years, but I couldn't tell the last time. I don't think I got a Bible at home.
But I don't think it's just about picking up the Bible.
You got one?
Many.
No, I've got a big one we got for the wedding, but I don't. But we got 20 years ago. But I don't. Do you look in the Bible? Really?
I'm not going to discuss my Bible studies. But, yes, I look in my Bible.
Do you? I'm so surprised.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised. What do you look in your Bible?
Not on a regular basis.
Do you?
But I have referred to my Bible.
Especially when I
You
was
know
off
what
and I had
I
all
refer
that
to?
time.
My Psalms.
Psalms.
That's
Yeah.
what I love
Yeah.
reading.
The Psalms I
Psalms.
know is Psalms 23.
I love my
Psalm.
Psalms. That's
I-
what I love looking at.
You know, I think the
But
Bible
it's-
is a powerful book. I think that it is worth a read,
Yeah.
or more than a read. But I do think that a lot of things that are said in it depend on how you take it or how it's interpreted. It can mean complete
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to people.
And some of it I read and I'm like, what does that
The
mean?
meaning.
And you read it
'Cause it's
over
a
and over
language,
again.
isn't it?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're trying to understand what
Mhm.
it means. But I you know, I have, especially more so recently.
But it
But,
can
um,
also make you humble. I mean,
What, the
If you-
Bible?
not the Bible, but,
Oh.
but if you believe in God, you know, it makes you humble.
Yeah.
And people are, some people,
Yeah,
not
of course,
everybody.
yeah.
I mean, some people practice what they preach, other people, they don't.
Right, and some people
And-
don't need to believe in God to be that person.
No, they don't.
They don't,
They
yeah.
don't. And everyone should have a choice. It doesn't mean because you're a Christian that you're good.
Well, of course, that's what
Oh,
they were
well,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what it boils down to.
Mhm.
You know, you don't have to say, "Oh, I'm not baptized, so I'm not a good person."
Mm.
You know, you can still be a good person without
course.
being
Oh,
Of course.
yes, definitely.
baptized or christened or go to church.
Or believe in God.
Believe in
But,
God.
Yeah,
you know, I,
very
you know, I
So-
think you should be, if you wanted to, I think you should, as a non-believer, you should be able to go and sit in church just to see what it's like, and no one question that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I'm sure people would
But
question that or
from
try
from
and.
the time where you have like different religions, like saying, you know, Muslim people this and
Right,
you know,
Christian-
it's like
right,
Christian people that,
right.
and yeah, it's
But
like
even
from that
as
they
you said,
can't.
not crossing you, but even within the Christian
Yeah,
faith,
true.
there are
yeah.
so many different
Denomination, yeah.
denominations.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
very
mhm.
true. And I think
Yeah.
that people can't even respect somebody
each
else's.
other's
Religion,
It's like yours
religion.
is wrong.
Yeah,
yours is
yeah,
Yes,
I know.
yeah.
You know, and
Right.
that in itself, that's why religion to
Yeah.
me is not a good thing.
Yeah, I never
Right.
really thought of it about like that, but you're right in that. And I don't know if I told you that I was speaking to someone, a Christian, the other day, and they said, you know, they were asking about something, and they said, oh, it can't, as long as they're not a Muslim. And I was like, hold on a minute, but you're a Christian.
Yeah.
You're a
And
Christian.
you should respect other
You
people's
should. That
faith.
should be
Yeah.
the first thing that you
Yeah.
do.
Well,
So,
That's
I mean-
quite sad.
I think that this topic, I mean, I'm sure we could say
we could go forever.
Yeah, go on forever about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that maybe we should
We will revisit.
come
Definitely,
back
yeah.
to
Yeah.
again. But for today, I think that's it. And I would just like to ask everybody to give their comments, share, subscribe, click the bell. What else?
Everything, like everything,
Like
everything.
everything.
And thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
having me.
Bye for now.